Hello and welcome to my podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective on healing body and mind. My name is Sandra Hayes and I'm a Vedic practitioner, meaning I utilize Ayurveda, yoga and Vedic astrology as well as transformational creativity to help you become a conscious creator of your own life, health and well-being. For more information and for access to my online learning platform, The Little School of Happiness, please go to www.sandrahayes.eu. Hello and welcome everyone. Today I would like to continue to talk to you about Samkhya philosophy a little bit, which is the underlying philosophy and a really, really important philosophy, especially if you are interested in yoga or Ayurveda, then this really is the basis of everything. And this podcast really is about Ayurveda, but I feel really strongly that to understand Ayurveda before even going into any dosha type or recommending herbs or nutritional therapy, it is really important to understand the basic view of life of the body in Ayurveda. And that alone really can do a lot for you to shift any blockages, any kind of, internal imbalances that you might have that might manifest as disease in the body. Because all disease, as everything else in life, starts in the very, very subtle realm of the unconscious mind, or before the unconscious mind. So last episode, we were talking about the creation of everything, the divine feminine and masculine, the meaning of the dualities and of this of the gunas, the basic qualities of life, and the cosmic intelligence that arises from it. I've explained it in detail in the last episode, so please do go back and you will completely understand why it is so important, because it sets the stage, it sets the basis for us to know that we really are a self-healing organism that is motivated purely by love. And once we understand that, we can really begin to trust ourselves completely. Just our nature, the nature of life in general, the nature of our own self, the nature of anyone around us, and of the whole universe. So it really is important to shift that perception and see the beauty in this, divine organism that we are, really. And this cosmic intelligence is underlying everything in life. But what I want to talk today is that all that basis, that basic intelligence, then comes together to form individual organisms. And that happens everywhere. That happens in nature, in the universe. Out of molecules, planets are formed. And cells in our body are formed, and those cells again cluster together to form organs. So organisms are formed that are separate, that have an individual identity. And that is called the ahamkara, which is the I maker. It's often translated as ego, but ego is, we have a very strange relationship, I think, with our ego, because we see it as something bad, but it isn't something bad. It is simply, at least not in the sense of Samkhya, it is simply the function of nature to individualize, to be able to distinguish one from another. And out of ahamkara comes, at least, for us, humans and animals and other organic things, comes the mind, the actual mind, buddhi. And so this is the individual mind. And if we see it as our personal consciousness, our own individual perception, then it is our unconscious mind as well. It includes everything. So what is our unconscious mind? Our unconscious mind really does contain everything. Every memory, every experience we've ever had is stored in the unconscious mind. And not only our memories of this life, but all the memories of our ancestors in their lives as well, as stored in our unconscious mind through our DNA. And within this big storehouse of memories are some that are finished, that are concluded. Like we can see every experience that we have in life as a digestion. We experience something, we take something in through our senses, we process it in our mind, and then we eliminate it through our organs of action. I'll get into that in the next episode a little bit more. But what it means really is that everything we experience is a form of digestion. We take something in, we process it, and we have to then express it in some way, shape, or form. And if something goes well, then that's exactly what happens. We are experiencing, or let's say we are learning something, and we process it, and then we use it in our work. We do something useful with it. We express ourselves with, maybe we teach later as well. We somehow let it out again. And that is a complete cycle of the processing in our mind, of the digestion of our experiences. However, out of these memories and experiences, there are many that have not been concluded. That means there are many of these processes that either have been too much for us to process in the first place, or we have been somehow stuck in the processing and never gotten around to express them fully. And some of them are very old as well. And the unconscious mind stores them all. And what it will do is it will represent situations continuously to us through which we can continue processing these emotions or these unfinished experiences. So let's say we have experienced a lot of rejection as a child, and we have not processed, we have not gotten over this feeling of rejection. We have swallowed it down and learned certain behaviors that just simply allow us to feel safe in the world. But the unconscious mind has a beautiful objective, and that is to protect us. It serves our higher selves, and it protects our body as well. It protects us by representing these experiences to us again and again so that we can resolve them. So we will later in life experience these same emotions over and over again through whatever circumstance might trigger them for us. And that actually is a wonderful thing that our mind, our unconscious mind, is trying to do for us. Now, that might not be comfortable for us, and it might also not happen in any easy or appropriate moments, but the incentive here is really a good one. It is just so we can actually continue to resolve this particular issue, digest it fully, and then eliminate whatever is left over of it. And that's a beautiful thing. The issue is that we seem to have so many of these unprocessed emotions or experiences in us that we seem to constantly be triggered by something, whether we realize it or not, whether it is, it doesn't always have to be a big trauma, but it can also be very little experiences that just keep us stuck in this sense of reacting. And this is also where you can see where Ayurveda and yoga are really sister sciences, because yoga, of course, also is based on the same philosophy, on Samkhya philosophy. And in yoga, we do focus on resolving all these little unfinished issues, these unconscious conditionings, these stuck emotions that keep us from seeing the truth of who we really are, which is a beautiful, divine, self-healing organism that is connected to everything and everyone around us and is motivated by love. And also in Ayurveda, this is the development of disease, because most disease really begins, or maybe all disease really begins in this subtle realm of the unconscious mind. It begins where there are so many unfinished, unprocessed things that the unconscious mind is trying to present to us. And if we don't react to them, if we don't balance out the gunas again, if we don't listen to this cosmic intelligence that is behind it all, and if we continue in whatever way, if we keep ignoring the things that we need to face, because it is difficult and we would much rather stay in our comfort zone, then the unconscious mind will continue to communicate it to us further and further down the line of evolution of consciousness. That means further and further into matter. And that means into the body. And we can feel it more and more manifesting in the body itself. Now, the unconscious mind runs the body already anyway. It runs all the bodily functions, the heartbeat, the breathing, the cell renewal, everything, digestion, everything is happening through the unconscious mind, because we are not consciously controlling any of that. And there's another thing about the unconscious mind. It does not judge in good or bad, but it does assume the kind of moral code that you were conditioned to as you were growing up. And that means that it will consider that in the ways it will protect you. That means that it will always, as I said, represent these negative experiences to you for the opportunity to resolve them. But it will also at the same time repress negative emotions if it thinks that this is the better way for now to keep you safe, according to your own moral code. And so it is really important for us to really listen to whatever it is the unconscious mind is presenting us with, and to really reflect and look at anything that comes up with a non-judging attitude, because the unconscious mind is our friend, really. It is there for us. It is continuously trying to protect us, and it wants to serve us. And that's exactly what we have to see as well. Our unconscious mind, including our ego sense, our sense of self, is continuously trying to serve us and protect us. And it does listen to the instructions we are giving it, consciously or unconsciously, because it is the unconscious conditionings that is our moral code that it is listening to, and it also is our external voice, our conscious mind that it is listening to, and particularly it is listening to anything that repeats. It's like with everything, a muscle grows through repetition, and the unconscious mind also responds to repetition. This is how we condition ourselves. This is how we form any kind of habits. So if we are repeating the same internal dialogue over and over again to ourselves, consciously or unconsciously, then our unconscious mind will assume that moral code. So if we continuously say to ourselves, oh, I'm so useless, oh, I'm so bad, I can't do anything. If this is our internal dialogue, even if we're not aware of it, then the unconscious mind will assume this as its reality, which of course then will cause imbalances and will have to be resolved. And to resolve these issues, the unconscious mind will again represent the emotions connected to it over and over again, until we have learned that in fact we are not. And this is another thing about the unconscious mind. It understands not our language that we are used to in the external world, but it understands symbols. The unconscious mind and the higher self respond to a language of symbols, a direct language of feelings and stories and archetypes and symbols. And this is why it is hugely important for our children, for example, to grow up with stories, and for our, not only children, for adults as well, to have stories, to be creative, to encourage a kind of a symbolic thinking and intuitive thinking. Now, there's a reason why the Vedas were written in story and poetry, and there was a lot of music and intonation connected to them, and dance, and there's a lot of archetypes in the mythology. There's the practice of mantra and yantra, the beautiful geometrical images. Also, when it comes to practices like meditation, there's many forms of meditation where we imagine an object in our mind, and that object carries a certain quality, which becomes the symbol for that which we want to, that quality that we want to achieve. For example, we might sit in meditation and picture internally a bright shining sun or a clear crystal, because we want our mind to have that quality of that clear crystal or that bright shining light. Because our unconscious mind understands that kind of symbolic language. And that is something really important. And it's also really important to understand that if we want to further understand Ayurveda, or really any of the Vedic teachings, because many of them are based on that understanding of the unconscious mind listening and expressing itself in symbols. And we know that, of course, by the way we dream. We don't dream in, perfectly logical sentences. We dream in pictures and stories that are not always making sense to our waking mind. And of course, it stresses again the importance of us expressing ourselves creatively in symbols and stories and creative ways, because that expression comes directly from the unconscious mind. And like I said, it's all about digestion. It is really, everything is about processing, taking in, processing, and eliminating again. And that elimination on the level of the mind is happening through creative expression. And that doesn't always have to mean, just like painting or drawing. Anything can be creative, but any expression, a vocal expression through the mouth, or a hands-on, to do something with our hands and creating it, doing anything with our hands. It can also be done through our feet, by walking it off, and by exercising it off, by moving our bodies. And on the purely physical level, we also eliminate, of course, through the organs of elimination, and also through our sexual organs. Especially as a female, we menstruate each month, and maybe sometimes we have a baby, and that is also an elimination. We take in the male sperm, we process it, and then we eliminate it as a baby. And also that is elimination. And the male sperm also is eliminated from the body. And that's how Samkhya also describes then these, the 5 organs of action through which we eliminate. And of course, the 5 organs of perception also have to be there. And that's the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, and the skin. So the 5 senses through which we take everything in, and we process it in the mind, and then we eliminate it through the organs of action. That is all described in the Samkhya philosophy, and that is the evolution of organic matter. That means everything that is alive will have some form of these, sense organs, everything that procreates. And there's also the inorganic matter, meaning all the other parts of life that does not procreate, like minerals, or the elements. And there's the 5 elements that are described. So the 5 types of molecules that carry the particular qualities of fire, so those that are hot and transformative and rising up, all the qualities of fire. Those that carry all the qualities of water, that are liquid and cooling. All those that carry the qualities of earth, so those that are solid, for example, and heavy. And those elements that carry the quality of air, so those that are moving and light. And then also those that carry the quality of space, and that really is, the space in between everything that contains all of the other elements, that is expansive and wide and light, of course, as well. So these are the 5 great elements, the Pancha Mahabhutas. And for us, in order to perceive those 5 elements, they have to take a certain subtle form. And that is the form of sound, of touch, the form of sight, of vision, the form of taste, and the form of smell. So those are the ways that we can perceive those elements. And all the way down, all the way on this kind of, ladder of evolution, all the way from Purusha and Prakriti, the gunas, through Mahat, the cosmic intelligence, Ahamkara, the I maker or the ego, the individual mind or buddhi, and the organs of actions and the organs of perception, and the Panchamahabhutas and the subtle ways of perceiving them. All through that evolution, the gunas will have an influence of all of them. So these 3 qualities of tamas, sattva, and rajas will always influence. So everything in nature is always either more solid and stable, or more dynamic and moving, or more light and expansive. And that is all the way down to our very nature, our individual nature, our bodies. And that is expressed by the bodily, the physical constitution, or the doshas, which I will talk about next time. But for now, I would like to just conclude a little bit and put together some of the most important things for you to remember about your mind. And that is, for one, the unconscious mind contains all our memories and emotions. And that it is the unresolved memories that are standing in the way of accessing a higher state of mind, in which we are aligned with the authentic divine self that we are. So the more unresolved emotions and unresolved experiences we have, the less we can be in touch with our true self. Now, these unresolved emotions in Samkhya, they are referred to as samskaras, which are a little bit like seeds that are planted in the mind. It's a beautiful explanation, a beautiful depiction of it. If you imagine it like everything we take in is like a seed that is planted, and it will eventually grow given the right circumstances. So whatever, circumstance we have around us, that might be the right trigger for one of them to begin to grow and sprout, and they have no value. It could be positive or negative, and they will sprout and grow and come to fruition eventually until they're gone, because that is their cycle. Once we take something in, it is a seed and it will continue to grow, take fruit, and deteriorate again and enter the cycle of life again. And this is, again, digestion. So the less samskaras we have, the more clear we can see what things are really like, the more clear we can see life and our surroundings, the more beauty we are able to see in the world, the more beauty we are able to see in us, because we are actually seeing our divine self, and the less chance we have of developing disease. And the other thing is, the unconscious mind will do absolutely everything to get us to continue the process, to process these emotions, to conclude our learning process, to conclude this cycle, where the seed has to grow, the plant has to develop, the fruit has to come. And our learning process is not finished when this cycle isn't finished. And the unconscious mind will absolutely continue to pass on whatever message it is that we have to grasp, that we have to learn, and it will pass it on through the body, and until it will eventually be resolved. So knowing that, we can absolutely see any symptom that we might experience, and be it a tiny symptom, and be it only a little bit of, passing gas, which is absolutely normal, but any symptom our body gives us is a message of some sort. And the more we learn to listen to these messages, the better for us, because we can then react to our unconscious mind. The other thing that is important to understand is that digestion really is everything. It happens on all levels, on the subtle level of the mind as well as in the body. And it always follows the same path. We take in things through our 5 senses, and we process it in the mind or in the body. And we eliminate it through the organs of action. So that means we take in something through our sight, for example. We see something, we process it in the mind, and we express it again. We take it in through the ears as sound. We take it in through the nose as fragrance. We take it in through the skin as touch, and we take it in through the mouth as taste. And all 5 senses, of course, we can then manipulate and use it as therapy. We can use conscious therapies, sense therapies, in order to better our digestion, both on the mental level and on the physical level. So we can use, for example, color therapy. We can also just simply be aware of what we look at, to look into a beautiful blue, wide sky, or to look at green nature. Certainly better than to stare at a screen, for example. And we can simply just be conscious of that. We can also use sound as therapy, and there's so much in the Vedic literature to inspire us to use sound in a certain way. But in the very least, we can, just be mindful of what we listen to on a daily basis. We don't always have to listen to negative news, for example, is a very difficult one, because, as much as we want to be informed, but we have to be careful as well not to take in too many negative news that we just simply can't process, because everything we take in, we have to also then process and eliminate. If we can't do that, that means if we don't become then an activist and really do something to help, those war zones, for example, or places, problematic places, then we are going to be stuck with that information, and we are going to slowly but surely probably get, feel very bad and negative, and maybe get depressed even. So we have to just be very careful of what we listen to, and not to forget also the power of beauty in all the senses. Listening to beautiful, harmonious music, or using mantra or any other sound therapies Beautiful, beautiful thing. We all know aromatherapy using smell and essential oil. Touch therapy, massage is a wonderful, wonderful thing that is hugely important as well. And of course, taste therapy in Ayurveda is a particularly important thing that I will go into much more in a later episode. So we digest all of that in the mind, and also in the mind we can use therapies to reset the mind and stimulate the mind's natural ability to process. For example, in practices like meditation is a little bit like doing a fast for the mind as well. And it's a beautiful thing to do. And there's many different meditations. I will get into the practical side of that again in another episode a little bit more. But then also we have the therapies of our own action or elimination. And that is, like I already said, the expressing of our, what is inside of us through the organs of action, through our hands, doing something, making something, creating something in whatever way, shape, or form we feel drawn to. Writing is a wonderful way, intuitive, creative writing is a wonderful way of eliminating. I'm a huge fan of practices like journaling or the morning pages, where you just put the pen to paper or the fingers on your keyboard and simply write without stopping, without thinking about it, without planning, without editing. Just write for maybe 20 minutes or however long you have time, and then just see what comes out. Simple things like exercise, moving the body, and particular creative exercise like dance, forms of dance where you can move the body, or shaking is a wonderful way as well that is used by all animals in nature. I've mentioned it before. And of course, physical detoxification on a regular basis is also really important. So there's a lot that you can do to stimulate the mental digestion through transformational creativity, through all of these practices, all of these techniques. If you would like some help with that, then I will offer you a discount now for one session with me, either a coaching session or an Ayurvedic consultation, where we can work a little bit on this part of your digestion, mental digestion or physical digestion, and to see where, if you are stuck somewhere, where are you stuck, and where can we put these therapies in place and use something that is appropriate for you, and maybe learn some new techniques that will help you with that digestion a little bit more, to get everything flowing a little bit more, and to help you access your own inner true knowledge and intuition, so that everything else in life will just simply flow as well. And so if you go to my website, www.sandrahayes.eu, and book a consultation with me there, either through the direct link or through the contact form on the website, just write me a message and explain a little bit about, what you would like help with, and then add the code word podcast, and you will get a 20% discount. And I hope that will help you a little bit and encourage you or inspire you to start that journey of increasing the powers of your digestion, both mentally and physically, and really begin a beautiful journey of an Ayurvedic lifestyle, and start there where it simply makes most sense to start, and that is in your mind. Because yes, it is all in your mind, but the mind is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and so is the body. And with this thought, I'll leave you for now, and I look forward to hearing from you. Feel free to write me a message also if you have any questions. And I look forward to the next time. Bye for now. You were listening to a podcast on radical self-love, an Ayurvedic perspective of body and mind by Sandra Hayes and the Little School of Happiness. For more information and offers, go to www.sandrahayes.eu.